Let's revisit key words in Professor David Bunis' final email to Pastor William Brown. Hi, William. The aftermath of our correspondence is a bit amazing to me. It really shows just how much interest there is in the inscription and how people with all kinds of agendas seem to be trying to use what they read out of the inscriptions to their own advantage. This was not the sense I got when I first read your original email. Professor Bunis used the word aftermath, which indicates the overwhelming responses he received about the Pews. He makes it clear in this email that he don't know who to trust. He made it clear by stating how people with all kinds of agendas seem to be trying to use what they read out of the inscription to their own advantage. Abdelmasih Amanhatani is clearly wrong in his deceptive videos in suggesting that this professor's comments were directed only at Pastor William Brown. His message was directed towards everyone who reached out to him, and that includes you, Abdelmasih Amanhatani. Yet many of you want to question the integrity of Pastor William Brown. Abdelmasih Amanhatani and Mike Pereira, as well as the rest of the UA community, have some of our people behaving in the spirit of a lynch mob. So moving forward, anyone in IT can pick apart their assumption within minutes. There's a difference between an actual court proceeding versus the court of public opinions. So who is Richard Katz? Did Pastor William Brown create this person? Is he simply an image of his imagination? We will answer this question shortly. But first, I want to walk you through a few things for you to consider. Let's start with understanding the meaning of Professor Richard Katz's name. Starting with his first name, Richard. It means brave, power, derived from the Germanic element Rick. In other words, it means power, rule, and hard. In other words, bravery, hardy. The Normans introduced this name to Britain, and it has been very common there since that time. The name Katz, derived from the Hebrew words Kohen Zedek, meaning priest of justice, indicating a descendant of Aaron. And as you see, the usage is Jewish. Does Pastor William Brown know enough Hebrew to strategically select the name Katz? Did he know the origin of this word? Did he know that the word means priest or justice? Are there any indicators of his teachings that would suggest that he created this supposed fictional character? Now let's delve into the email, starting with the created at line. The first highlighted line tells us the date the email was created and sent. The create at line on the left is Pastor William Brown's mobile phone, and the left is Professor William Katz's mobile phone. We see that there is a gap of 13 days. On the left is the email Pastor Brown sent to Professor Bunis, and the one on the right is the message Professor Katz allegedly sent to Abdelmasih Amanhatani. So let's go to the from section. This section tells you that both users have Yahoo accounts. Both users use Yahoo email mobile application for Android phones. So this indicates that they use Android phones and have the same model. So is it unusual for this particular box to read almost identical? According to Statista.com, Android controls 72% of the mobile markets worldwide and 51.1% of the mobile market share within the United States. So this is not a red flag, but according to Abdelmasih Amanhatani and Mike Pereira, aka Faithful to a God, the red flag is the same IP address. As many have stated, IPs don't lie. But my response, you are absolutely correct, but people do. Why does both phones have the same IP address? Is this truly a gotcha moment? Is this proof the owner of these accounts is Pastor William Brown? The simple response, emphatically no. However, I can't just end here. Let me explain what this line means. So what is a Sender Policy Framework, in other words, SPF? Let me go into geek mode and explain what it is. This is what Cisco says about SPF. It says, Sender Policy Framework, in other words, SPF, is a simple email validation system designed to detect email spoofing by providing a mechanism to allow receiving email exchangers to check the incoming mail from a domain is being sent from a host authorized by that domain's administrators. The list of authorized sending hosts for a domain is published in the domain name system, in other words, DNS records for that domain in the form of a specially formatted text record. Email spam and phishing often use forged sender addresses, so publishing and checking SPF records can be considered anti-spam techniques. This simply tells you that the SPF is a DNS server. This means that the SPF ID IP address is simply an IP address of the DNS server of the sending company. But I can't just stop here. Let me further explain, starting with explaining an Internet Protocol address, or simply put, an IP address. So what is an IP address? An IP address is an address used in order to uniquely identify a device on an IP network. The IP address is made up of 32 binary bits, which can be divisible into a network portion and host portion of the help of a subnet mask. The 32 binary bits are broken into 4 octets. Each octet is converted to decimal and separated by a period, in other words, a dot. For this reason, an IP address is said to be expressed in dotted decimal format. For example, 172.16.81.100. The value in each octet range from 0 to 255. Now, what you see on your screen is the IP address that these guys made a big deal of. As you see here, the first octet indicates the class of the IP address, which is 74. And when we look at the first 2 octets together, the first 2 octets reveal the network portion of the IP address, and the third and fourth octets reveals the host portion of the IP address. Simply put, SPNs are assigned to servers, not cell phones and other devices. So